You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. iLive Radio.
Talks honest. Talks honest. Talks honest. Talks honest. Hello and welcome to Talks Honest. You are tuned into iLiveUK, changing the way you listen to radio. I'm your host, Miss Law, and joining me on today's show will be Miss Mode. This is a talk platform, an opportunity for you to express yourself and discuss topics never spoken of but often thought of. You can connect with us by contacting us on 0208 638 8503 or www.iliveradio.com/ilive-UK. Please come and get involved in our discussions.
What if we spoke honestly? 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 What if we spoke honestly?
Today's subject is a father's absence. I want to talk about this subject for the simple reason there are a number of reasons why a father is absent, and we often are under the impression that a father doesn't want to be there. Now I'd like to just go dig a bit deeper and just see where this takes us. Miss Mode, when someone says, oh, my dad's not around, or my dad, who's that? What springs to your mind when someone says something like that? Or you just hear someone say, I don't know my dad?
Well, it just depends on their whatever experience they had or not had with their father, because the absence could be for many reasons.
Yeah.
He may no longer be alive. There may be other factors, as in the mother might have stopped the child from seeing or having some form of a relationship with the father.
That's right.
Or the father themselves doesn't want to know.
Yeah.
Basically. So, there's different factors you've got to take into consideration when you talk about a father's absence. If, for example, you have a child who doesn't have a relationship with their father because of their father, well, that child may want to get in contact and find out or ask questions like why, because there might have been a situation with the relationship with the mother, the reason why he's not there.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
Or it could be a thing of where the child is just happy and content with just having his or her mother in their life, and that's it, and just doesn't want to know.
Do you feel like when you may have spoken to people who they just talk about a particular parent and don't talk about the other parent, so to speak. Does it ever spring to mind like, oh, maybe their dad isn't around, or is this an awkward situation? Do I mention the other parent, or do I just leave that alone?
I think it's a thing of where a child, whether they're still a child or, an adult, should ask questions and find out why I don't have this relationship.
Or I don't know this person.
Or
where is this person?
Like, why hasn't he been in my life? And see what answers you can get from the other parent or guardian, because sometimes the mother's not on the scene and they're living with their grandparents.
I do wonder how it actually makes them feel, because you can live with a parent and not live with the other parent, and nobody really knows how they feel inside, and nobody knows what they're going through, because it's a form of rejection.
Yeah.
And to be rejected by a parent is it's a mental thing.
Yeah, it's traumatic.
It's traumatic to the point that you don't know how they're dealing with that.
Right, and how it affects them.
And how it actually affects on a day-to-day basis. And you have friends who have both, and you're going around your friend's house, and you're unable to actually express yourself because you're not accustomed to seeing that, and you can't relate to it
in your household because your household's not the same.
Exactly. So when you think about it, a lot of people say, oh, I don't have a dad, or I don't know where my dad is, or I don't know. When you really think deep about that, it's quite soul destroying.
Yeah, it is.
For me as a person, knowing that that person doesn't have what I have with my parents, so to speak. And you only base that based on what you have.
Yeah.
And even though you do have your mum and dad, even then sometimes you feel like you're lacking stuff. So how do they actually feel when they've just got one parent who is the mother and the father and the uncle and the aunt and so on and so forth? It's quite troubling.
Yeah.
Because you just don't understand what is going on.
And it does
inside.
Affect your development as a child, on how you grow from being a baby to a toddler to being in primary school age, then on to secondary school, college and so forth. And even up to present, even if you're in your 30s or 40s, you still need that figure around you. Yeah.
And I find that as well with not having a father figure in your life, you tend to reach out to other people. That could be an older partner, that being a male or a female, your grandparents, an uncle and aunt, or just somebody you look up to in that sense,
and that you feel comfortable in talking to,
opening up and being just you kind of adhere to however they are,
kind
the person,
letting go of your vulnerability as well. A bit.
But when you think about that as well, it's you can only share so much with another person. That bond between you and your mother and your father is a really deep bond, and to not have that, or to have that rejection put on you at whatever age, it's quite devastating.
Yeah, it does. It will take a toll on you. I come from a single parent home. I would say now I think in the last maybe 10 years or even 20 years, I've accepted what my dad is or was. So it hasn't affected me to the point where, some people can't handle that type of situation of being rejected. I've learned to it's like my brain's like a filing cabinet.
Okay.
And I've got different folders, but I've put that to the back, so I don't need to bring it forward.
You haven't got to it.
I don't need, but the thing is, I don't need to.
You don't feel the need to either.
I don't feel the need to anymore.
Okay.
When I was younger, because I had all the questions. I always wondered why I never saw him again. If I did see him, it was like I'm just talking to some stranger. There was no any type of love. Like the words he would say, I love my daughter, but I didn't feel it.
You didn't feel that love.
I felt love from my mum.
Okay.
Regardless of how many times she would cuss or whatever or be upset with me, I know she loves me. Yeah. And has love for me. But from his side, I didn't feel it at all.
So when you say that he wasn't in your life, at the time, how did it make you feel?
I think when I was younger, I felt upset because I saw him till the age of 7 or 8 years old. And that was me going to his every Saturday.
And obviously time has passed.
Yeah.
But upon reflection and thinking about those times, did you think it was your fault that he rejected you, the situation he was in, or did you feel you were a contributor to that rejection?
My thought on that, I just felt he just didn't love me no more for whatever reason, I don't know. But then I had a lot of resentment against him. I just remember saying to my mum, I hate my dad. But my mum would always pull me up and say, never say you hate your dad.
Right.
Ever. And she was very stern and strict with that. And I'm like, why mum? Because he's never there for me. He doesn't come and pick me up no more. Da, da, da. And she kind of explained it the best way she could to a child, because you can't go...
You were young.
Right, I was very young. And it was a thing of basically saying, well, he has whatever's going on with him, so don't be, don't be angry at him, don't hate him, just
understand,
leave him to it, he'll come around. And that's where it was left at. And then obviously my mum was my world, innit? So I've taken that on and think, yeah, well, he will come back around. And
even if it didn't,
yeah. But I stuck to that for a while until I reached teenage years, 14, 15. And
so when you said you stopped seeing him, what age did you actually 7, 8 you stopped seeing him? So prior to that,
I was seeing him every weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at what point did he leave the household then?
Well, when I knew myself, he wasn't living with us. So I think that relationship ended a while ago before I actually fully understood that, my dad don't live here, he lives somewhere else.
Okay.
But I had that regular contact with him where he would come and pick me up. I would go to his, spend the day, do whatever, and he'll bring me back home. But even same with that, I didn't want to always stay there.
Right. I was going to get onto that. Like, when you were there and the dynamics weren't the way, or should I say you didn't feel comfortable?
The thing is, I didn't mind going with him, but it was like he would collect me from the morning, say like around 11 o'clock or something. He'll take me in the car, we'll drive back down, we'll go get something to eat. So he'd done all the
fatherly things
that you're meant to do. But then it came to maybe like the early evening and I'll be like, I want to go home now.
Okay.
Like I didn't want to stay no more.
You didn't want to, did you stay over?
No, I've never stayed over.
Oh, you never stayed over as a child, so it just got to a point, the evening drew in, you just wanted to go home, and then you did go home.
Just take me home,
Wow. Okay.
And I think because I was very close to my mum.
Okay, that's understandable.
And it's just that thing where
that bond
you've
that
got
you
that
had.
bond in it. So it's like, all right, I've had fun with you, Dad, but now I want to go and be with my mum now, my mum kind of thing. So it will come to like early evening, then I'll be like, okay, I want to go home now, and then he'd be like, yeah, but it's too early. I'm like, no, I want my mum.
So he wasn't, when, that's interesting that you said that. So when he was with you, he wanted you there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did.
So he questioned when you wanted to leave.
Yeah.
So okay, so at what point did it change then? Do you feel?
To my knowledge, I don't know when it changed because I was young. I don't know what conversations they both had regarding me or whatever. But all I just remembered, I was meant to go and spend the day with him, and alright, so the week before when he drove me home, we saw a fun fair and it was going on for the next week, and I was like, oh Dad, can we go? And he said, alright, next week I'll take you.
Right.
So I'm like, cool. So obviously as a child,
you're excited,
that's in your brain now, it's stuck there. Like obviously you go to school, you're telling your friends, I'm going fun fair Saturday, and you're getting all excited. The day comes, I get dressed up, my mum dressed me up because she always dressed me up in dress and all that, and I sat by the door waiting for him to come, and he never came. I was like, Mum, where's my dad? He's meant to be picking me up. We're going funfair. And she was like, oh, well, call him. So I knew how to use a phone. So those old school phones where you're dialing, yeah, you're spinning it around, and it was just like ringing, and no answer. So I was like, he's not picking up. He said, all right, just give it half an hour or something. So I'm waiting, nothing. And I think I waited there the whole day till it got till about like evening. All I remember, it was nighttime, and I was still waiting by the door, sitting there with my dress and everything. Wow. And no, he didn't turn up. So I questioned my mum. I was like, why did he do that to me? And like, my mum really didn't have no answer.
Yeah,
she was like,
understandable.
It was a thing where she was like, well, the next fun fair that is round here, I will take you. Yeah.
So she tried to compensate.
Yeah, she tried to compensate and comfort me the best way she can. But I know deep down she was upset because she probably could see how I was excited, and then next thing you know,
and how disappointed you were.
And then from that day onwards, never saw him again until I was in my mid-teens.
So that's quite a big gap in your life. Yeah. So in that time, what kind of things ran through your mind?
I thought something was wrong with me. Like,
so you blamed yourself?
Yeah, maybe he doesn't like me no more. Maybe he doesn't love me. Maybe I'd done something wrong. I was trying to think if I'd done something wrong to the reason why he didn't want to take me. So I was kind of racking my brain the week before. What did I do that might have upset him, and that's why he doesn't want to take me? But from my memory, I don't recall me doing anything bad that I could think of at that time. So I just thought, all right, he doesn't love me no more, and it was okay, cool. I would say I was upset then, but then I knew I had my mum, so it was like, because that bond was so close, I'm like, all right, I've got my mum, don't need to worry about him no more. And that was that.
So in your teens, you more or less came to the realization that
literally I was done.
He didn't exist in your life.
Not at all.
So we're now at an age. Do you now have a relationship?
Well, he's no longer here.
Okay. And based on the fact that he is no longer here, before he left, did you manage to?
I tried to. I think it happened when I wasn't well, and my aunt begged and pleaded for him, give me his number so I can call him, because I was in the hospital at the time. But that's when there was somewhat of a connection. But even then, it was like it was like chalk and cheese.
Okay, it wasn't consistent.
Yeah. So it's like I knew what it was like. So it wasn't where I was in hopes of, yes, we're going to have this father-daughter relationship. I just knew what it was like, and that was that. So when I didn't see him again, I was like, I was fine. I was fine with it.
If you'd like to connect with us, you can contact us on 0208 638 8503 or on the website on iLiveUK.com. Our subject today is an absent father, or father's absence, should I say. Thinking about what we've discussed, was there at any point in your life that you thought, okay, my dad's not here, I have my mum, who's my everything? Did you ever search or feel the need to look for an alternative father figure?
Not really, no.
You didn't?
And I think maybe because I'm a woman, anything to do with like feminine stuff
was covered, basically.
Was covered by my mum. I feel that what I would have loved to have had from my dad is about whenever you get into a relationship, how a guy should treat you and stuff like that. Here are the signs of what you need to look for.
Okay, the good man, the bad man.
Yeah, so these are the red flags and, stuff like that. I wouldn't mind having that, or even probably when it comes to my education, like work twice as hard, or
just some standards.
Yeah, just that
support.
Yeah, basically. Like, I would have liked to have that, but I didn't. But then I got it, as I said, from my mum. But
Yeah.
I think the part when it comes to the relationships and dating, it would have been beneficial for me to have a male perspective
Yeah.
tell me what or how a man should treat you
Yeah.
and what you should not accept
Yes.
from a man, you know?
So based on the fact that your dad wasn't around, you didn't feel the need to reach out to another male
No.
person to get that fatherly figure.
No, not for me, no. Because I
Did-
know there are other people out there who do that.
Need, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but
right.
for me personally, no.
Yeah. See, I think that just going away from
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
personally, I feel that a lot of people, when they don't have their father figure there, they look elsewhere
Mm-hmm.
for that support, that love and affection. And sometimes it can be a friend, sometimes it could be an older man, sometimes it could be an uncle or somebody who's known to them to be a uncle. I think sometimes upon conversating with people who have come from the background where their father's been absent,
Yeah.
they look for the wrong things
Right.
in a partner.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
I don't know if you're in agreement
Yeah.
with me and you,
No, I
you
agree.
see where I'm coming
I've
from.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's quite soul destroying
Mm-hmm.
because that lack of fatherliness or father figure being there for them
Yeah.
has caused them to look elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sometimes gets them in situations or predicaments that puts them in a vulnerable position.
Yeah.
And I think when we look at that whole thing, we really need to pay attention to people who have that lack within their household, because it's not just my dad's not around. It goes beyond that to the point
Definitely. Yeah.
to the point that they make decisions based on how they actually feel,
Feel. Mm-hmm.
as opposed to making decisions feeling wholehearted, feeling complete, feeling at one with themselves.
Yeah.
So their decisions are more due to the lack of something,
Right.
which is a different emotion,
Very true.
and causes them sometimes to get involved or attach themselves to something that could long term be detrimental to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Yeah, because there are situations where, obviously, we're talking on whether it's a son or a daughter.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel it's always needed to have that father figure side as someone who should guide you,
Yeah,
advise you on the facts of life,
indeed.
whether it's, as I said, a relationship or dating.
Yeah.
But it is true that some people do find themselves consoling with, if it's with a daughter, an older man,
Yeah,
because they feel, as well as they're saying they're in a relationship with that older man, they feel like it's some kind of fatherly
figure.
as well. But thinking like that is something that is mentally strange, that you, because you're
attracted to somebody,
you're attracted to
somebody
who
who could be your father,
right,
or has those tendencies that your
right.
father
yeah,
would have,
or should have,
yeah. So that makes it very interesting, to the point that you think to yourself, is it a partner they're actually looking for, or is it that father figure?
Yeah, and I think more times it's the father figure.
Yeah.
Which is really, it's sad now we're discussing it and like kind of dissecting it and going deeper into it, because it's like, we were never asked to be born.
Indeed.
Right?
That's
We
right.
wasn't here. We just didn't just appear and be like, hey. But I feel no matter what the situation is, I feel a father needs to be in their child's life.
Yes, their
Don't-
responsibility.
It's your responsibility, regardless of how it happens or
Yeah.
whatever.
And no matter what happens within the relationship, at the end
Right.
of the day, you have a role to play.
That's true. But I will add, there are some mothers who are, don't want to be harsh, but selfish, because they don't allow the father to see
Their child.
their child, which
Yeah.
is wrong. And you're
Yeah.
doing that because of personal.
Yeah.
And you need to separate your personal feelings
From the fact that you have a child together.
here that is together, and that child needs that father in their
Yeah,
life.
they have
regardless.
needs, that child.
Exactly, because you're saying no to him not seeing or she not seeing her father now as a young child, but as that child grows up,
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be some form of resentment, because there's going to be a thing of, why did you not let me see my dad?
Yeah.
Because obviously when you grow up and be in your teens, like, you're going to have some children who want to know their dad, and then when the dad says, well, your mum didn't want me around to see you or anything like that, then you're going to have that resentment.
Yeah, and also it's when you look at that whole situation, you know, nothing's guaranteed in life. You enter a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know whether it's going to be forever or not. So you have to be mindful that
Mm-hmm.
you're going to bring a child into this world.
Yeah.
If we bring a child into this world and we're not together, what are we going to do?
Mm-hmm.
It's as though you have that responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know you have that responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
but you find any excuse to escape your responsibilities.
Right.
Now just think about that, and we'll be right back.
Yo, I'm watching street lights flashing from the backseat of my daddy's car. Heavy eyes, and every time again we ask how far. Travel round the world 3 times with that same cassette rewind. Play a jack, my tape collection, play a next one. My daddy was a scientist, yo, we shot a whale. Kick my brother, yeah, we top and tail. He got the blame, I got the front seat. Mesmerized by every drum beat, Jacob Miller, Dennis Brown. We got a friend in every town too. We ask 1,000 questions just to pass the time. Soak up knowledge from the all-knowing mastermind. Superheroes don't need maps to fly. Spaceships, crisp and egg crest sandwiches, makeshift paper play shit. Winter nights turn that heat up, young sleepyhead. Wake up, as if by magic, yo, we be in bed. Staring in the rearview mirror just to catch your smile. My happy place, my heart is in the backseat of my daddy's ride.
Someday you will play was just another education. The soul music we was raised on. We built a strong foundation. From the back of my daddy's ride. Just another education. The soul music we was raised on. We built a strong foundation. And I still think of all those times on the road. Don't need no destination. And I still seek your attention. Won't you tell me it's good? And tell me it's alright.
You should know better not to be touching daddy's system. Way before the air conditioning, roll the windows down and listen. Backseat with my sister, introduced me to a mix I call the soundtrack of my life. I close my eyes, they paint the picture of my childhood. The smiles, hugs, the bad, the good, the love, the smiles, the hugs. I'm proud enough to say we made it. Another day trip, as I embrace the vibration from the foot and bass. My mother hates it. She tells my dad to throw another tape in or find another station. That love energy, frontline radio, soul nation. We're on the road chasing sunshine and fun times. The unwind to slow jam, soul food for my young mind. I watch the world go by, don't ask me why. I love this journey more than when we actually arrive. The sun was grabbing me inside, the type of hold I can't describe. I caught the vibe whilst in the back of my daddy's ride.
The song that you play was just another education. The soul music we was raised on. We built a strong foundation from the back of my daddy's ride. Just another education. The soul music we was raised on. A strong foundation from the back of my daddy's ride.
Welcome back. Today's subject is a father's absence. You can connect with us by contacting us on 0208 638 8503 or connect with us on iLiveUK.com. To recap on what we discussed, we spoke about the father being absent, how people may feel, what people do to compensate for their absence. I just want to go back to that absence and finding a replacement, because that's what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
Finding an alternative role model, father figure, partner that fills that void within their life.
Right.
When we think about that, it's hard to put into words how it makes me feel. Also, it makes me wonder how those individuals going through that, and we're talking about male and female.
Oh yeah.
They're affected differently. For a male, it's a completely different perspective, because a boy needs his father.
Yeah.
I'm not saying a girl doesn't need her father, but because the bond between the mother and the daughter are at one, it's a slightly different need for a father figure. So when I think about a male, a son without a father, I think about conversation, that brotherly thing, that attachment, that male bond. You know, you're looking at your dad doing something and wanting to be like your dad.
Right, because that's your first role model.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a celebrity. You know, you've got some people say with this, you know, that's my role model. Your role models is who's in the home, and and that's who you look up to. So whether it's your, you know, your dad is fixing the car, for example, you want to help out by handing the spanner or whatever tool that he needs in the box or anything like that. You want to do that and feel like, you know, you're part of this team, because it's a team effort that you're doing now, and he feels proud that I'm helping out my dad with the car and so forth. You
aspire to be like your dad, don't you? As a child, even girl children do it. Even though you'll have a bond with your mum, you have a different relationship with your dad. Your dad teaches you how to do certain things, you know. If you get a car, you know, you go to your dad because dad's the one who does that. You know, if you want to wash your clothes, you tend to go to mum because mum knows how to get stains out. Just little things like that. They don't seem like a lot when you're being taught them. But when you go away and you're older and you're going to do those things, then you realise, oh yeah, mum knows how to get stains out. Oh, dad knows what wrench to use or what spanner to use. You know, it's so weird how we grow up, we get older, and we start to utilise all these things that have been indoctrinated in us.
Been taught.
And it's amazing, because we're like sponges. When you're small,
we soak up everything.
We soak up everything as a child, and it's like, even though we're children, we know where to go to get to what we need to get to. So when you think about things like that, it's like kids are clever, very, very clever.
Yeah, because as the child develops their, whether it's motoring skill, whatever skill, they take in a lot of information when they're young. And they remember a lot of things as well when they're young. So whether it's learning whatever dad's doing or whatever mum's doing, that's as I said, your brain is like a filing cabinet. You just store it
until you need it.
till you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I think about the male, the son, the nephew, I have a completely different look on the father's absence. And then what runs in my mind is youth of today. Now, when we look at past generations and we look at the current youth, we look at the demographics of how they are, what they do from what they don't do, and I do comparisons. When I say comparisons, I look at my brother who is a mature man today, and then I look at my nephews, and I'm balancing up the morals and the standards.
Right.
And I find that the standards have dropped immensely. Now, can we say it's because of the father's absence?
I think
A lack of father?
I think it would always be that, because obviously as children we take in a lot of information. As I said, when you go to school and you see the parents come to pick up the children, you're seeing that every day.
Yeah.
And then you're just seeing just your mum,
Yeah.
and you're just wondering, well, I wish I had that. There are some children who wish they could have that,
Yeah.
and they don't have that. There's a lot of kids who don't have that father come to collect them from school because of their absence. And obviously another thing, when it comes to parents' evening,
Yeah.
you see both the parents together, and then you just see just
The mum.
your mum. So they observe and see that. They might not say nothing, but they see that, and they somewhat like think like, oh,
Where's my dad?
where's my dad? Why is my dad
Why
not
is
here
my
for
dad
parents'
not here?
evening? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that all plays a part. Then whether it's from primary school, then on to secondary school, even to like when you start nursery. So it all factors in, because where earliest your memory can remember, you will never forget it when you're in your adult life,
No,
whether in
you
your
wouldn't.
20s and 30s. It
No,
will always
not at
be
all.
there.
Yeah.
Because obviously you can look at different demographics of cultures.
Yes, we can.
So I'm just generalizing. With the white culture, you would have the mum will be at home as the housewife. She takes care of home.
Yeah, and the dad.
The dad will be at work. He works. He brings the money in, and you will see that every day. So you see that as a son. You're like, yeah, I want to be like my
I
dad.
have to aspire to
I'm
what my
gonna
dad
make
did.
sure when I'm growing up and I'm working,
Yeah, I'm gonna
like
be
when
the-
I have my partner and I get married, this is how I want it to be.
Yeah.
Or something similar.
Similar,
But you majority want to be
That's
the
what you
breadwinner.
aspire. Yeah, you're the breadwinner.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's what you want to aspire
To, yeah.
right? In the Asian community, it's kind of the same as well.
It's very much
with
the
that.
same. Yeah.
With the black community now, I only can talk from the West Indian side,
Yeah.
Caribbean side. We used to see that in the Windrush generation,
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
right? But there has been, as I said, a lot of things have been disconnected from the black community when it comes to family or your relationship with your parents. I can't pinpoint it what it is,
Yeah.
but there's just been this disconnect, and I'm not saying, as I said, I'm generalizing for all of them.
Naturally, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, you're just seeing this same pattern.
You know what's quite interesting? As you just said, you cannot pinpoint where this change has taken
Yeah.
place. And, you know, we think back, has something outside of the home happened that's caused this? Because how can it be that we can't pinpoint it?
Very true.
And is it something that's been happening outside of the home that's gravitated these people away from their responsibilities that's created this. Because for us not to be able to identify something that is big within the community,
very prevalent, yeah,
but we can't pinpoint it.
No, and also, like, if there was two parents, mum and dad, and they split and the father's absent, there's a saying that it takes a village to raise a child.
There's no village.
And maybe that's the point.
That's probably the problem. The village doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist anymore. It's just everybody separated, just doing their thing. So maybe that might be one factor.
So where we had mum and dad, then we had grandparents bringing us up, and then we had uncles and aunts doing their role. Maybe that's what's changed.
And remember, at that time as well, not everybody had their own home. So your grandparents will be living with you.
Indeed.
Maybe your uncle and aunt will be...
Indeed. Or a uncle at one point and an aunt at another time.
Right. But there was that family unit there, so the child wouldn't necessarily feel like they're unwanted, or...
Yeah.
Because they had a male figure there as well.
It's interesting that we're going here, because we don't discuss things, but we think about them in our subconscious.
Yeah.
So it never actually comes to the forefront.
That's right.
So you've got a point.
Yeah.
We were so accustomed to seeing Uncle, Auntie every week.
Because some of us can think back and be like, well, every Sunday we used to go to my granddad's house or my grandma's house, or whatever. You would do that on a regular.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't like once a month. It was every week.
Every week, yeah.
So you knew where you was going.
And even if you weren't going to your grandma or grandpa,
it'll be someone,
uncle,
even a family, close family friend or something. So, as I said, there was that community, that village that was there all the time.
Yeah.
Now it's just broken away, and we're just
everyone's individual,
separate, doing their own thing, and that community is not there. But when you look at other races and cultures, they still are. You know what? Regardless of where they might have arguments or whatever, there's still that connection. That connection. We've lost it, and I think that's why.
Yeah, it set off alarm bells in my head, because it's soul destroying when you think about it. And now I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, I remember going to Uncle and Auntie's houses. I remember people constantly being around, but then it just stopped.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here, I'm trying to pinpoint why it stopped and when it stopped. And I can't actually put my finger on it.
I can't put my finger on it either, but...
So hence the reason me saying, was it something that happened outside of the home that was so important that it took our focus away from the home and put us just somewhere else?
Maybe.
Now,
but I wouldn't know what that is or what that was. And I think what will be interesting is maybe for us who still have parents or grandparents to actually have that conversation and find out where the disconnection happened, because maybe they could say, well, back in this day, and
do you think they honestly know?
Well, the only way you can find out is just by asking. Maybe they might know something, maybe they don't, but I know from that time there's been a disconnect.
Yeah.
Majority, there's been a disconnect, because I don't know for this generation or the next where they're going to say, I used to go to grandma's and granddad's on the Sundays for dinner or on a Saturday, or I went to my aunt and uncle. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Could it have been something to do with working? Like, working was just like a Monday to Friday type of thing. And then people working every day of the week, and shops never used to be open all the time, did they?
No, because they used to close at a certain time, maybe 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock.
But weekends, you had weekends together.
Yeah.
And that's probably where it's kind of changed a little bit. It broke down the fact that we were spending time with each other because we were probably going to work.
Yeah, I think due to longer hours, and then, you know, because I would say those who were working on weekends, especially in our community, was like, you know, your mum or your aunt or whoever was a nurse. You had a lot of nurses working in them days as well. On the male side, they were working on London transport, the buses and all that. But even with that kind of closed at maybe midnight, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, I was just,
But I think you've raised an interesting point there with longer working hours. And that it's not your Monday to Friday. It's actually, it can be the 7 days a week.
And even with the retail thing, because we didn't really, when you think about it as well, it's like shops used to close like 12 o'clock on a Sunday, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it was early afternoon.
Yes.
It would close. Because it was a thing of Saturday was your day to get up in the morning
and do everything.
Do all your shopping.
That's
and whatever. Right? And then you knew for Sunday, if you was going church, you go church. From church, you go pick up your newspaper and then come home.
You head back home. That was it.
And then that's when you had your
It's got
Sunday
a lot
road.
to do with the fact that we don't have time.
Yeah.
Or we didn't have time to meet up with our families.
Right.
And share those moments.
And I think maybe we didn't try enough to make that time of how it used to be. So now we've got comfortable with that setting now.
I think it boils down to the fact that people felt the need to work more, to earn more, to have that better life. But then they lost the quality of life.
That's right. Yeah.
So
yes.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's really caused me to really think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where the focus has gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone away from that quality time with the family, you know, the family unit and all that kind of stuff, to I need to earn more money, I need to do longer hours, I'm now unavailable because my lifestyle, I can't live up to my lifestyle because I need to earn that money.
And I think as well, people wasn't stuck in just one job.
Yeah.
They had different jobs they might have done in that time for that day or for that week.
Yeah.
Now you do have your 9 to 5 where you're there every day, or as we said, you know, you've got the longer shifts now where you work longer, you do your overtimes as well because you need more money. And that's what's consumed us now.
Yeah, so now we just don't have the time to do anything but work.
And I think maybe the only time we'll probably get together is when it's the holiday season, because that's when you would actually see your family.
Yeah, like the Easters, the Christmas.
Yeah.
Saying that, that's quite sad.
It is. That out of the year, it's maybe only twice. Or even once.
Yeah, maybe once.
As in,
which is Christmas.
And that's it.
Because that's the longest duration of time.
Right.
Even in a 6-week holiday that children have for school.
Yeah.
At that point, they still don't even come together.
Very true.
Yeah, because then you're with your mum and dad, or you're at a play scheme or a community centre or something of that kind. So it's interesting that this subject has taken us to this point to make us think where things possibly have gone wrong along the way.
Yeah.
Back to the youth, the male youth. And I say, when I say youth, I'm not just pinpointing the male youth, but I'm more concerned with the male youth for the simple reason where the dynamics of family, the community, it takes a village to nurture a child. The journey's changed somewhat. So now the youth have gone to the street.
Yeah, because they feel. See, that's another thing. It's not. They kind of look to an older person,
Mature individual.
who they feel is like their role model because they feel that they haven't had that growing up because of that absence of their father.
So that makes me feel even sadder. Because one, you don't have your father figure, you don't have your grandfather, you don't have your uncle, and now you've left the household completely to seek a father figure
to seek elsewhere. Yeah.
Now, when I sit back and I think about that in itself, that's quite troubling. And it gives you an idea why things are the way things are today.
Something to think about, though.
It is.
Really.
Because it's only now we've discussed this and you've kind of pinpointed certain things, it's highlighted other things that we just haven't thought about because we're just getting on with our everyday life.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting conversation.
Yeah, very.
Food for thought.
Oh, definitely.
Most definitely.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Because now I'm thinking a bit deeper than the fact that someone says, my dad's not around. I don't know who my dad is. Those things are said so flippantly from the mouth. But now we've sat down and we've thought about it and been able to dissect it to a certain degree. It's pretty deep.
Yeah, it is.
Can we get back to where we were? Can we mend this? I don't think this is a fixer. This isn't something we can fix.
It's all about time, and we have to start with the next generation as well.
Yeah.
So when they get to certain age, they can pass that knowledge back. Not saying that we've lost this generation
completely, no.
Because there are organizations that are out there to be that positive, whether it's father figure or role model, that as a young man growing up can be like, you know what, if I've got a problem or issue, I need some advice, you know where you can go to.
Yeah. It's nice to know that you can reach out to someone who's closer to you within your heart, as opposed to reaching out to someone outside of your family unit. Yeah, I know there are organisations out there. I know there are external bodies, people that can mentor you mentally, physically, to a point where you feel comfortable with yourself. But there's nothing better than that natural love and affection.
It just depends on the individual, to be honest.
Yeah.
I have to say that just by looking at different organizations and how they've been with young boys, young men, I feel they feel some form of acceptance and feel wanted.
A sense of
because
being.
It could be a thing of where if that father don't want to know you, the father don't want to know you. So you can't wait for him to decide, well, now you're in your 20s or 30s, now I want to be in your life. For a child,
it's too late.
That's too late.
Yeah.
So if there is organizations out there that can help, I commend it fully.
Why not?
And that could change a young boy's life to not go down the avenue of what we're seeing today in the media.
Yeah.
So you've got to kind of look at it like that, because
flip the coin.
Yeah, because you will have some fathers who don't want to know.
Yeah. And these organisations may actually help fathers also.
That as well.
So that's the flip side of things. Yeah.
That is encouraged as well.
Yeah.
To even come to these organisations, see what they're about. It'd be good that they could try and mend that
bring them together
father-son
in a way.
relationship.
Yeah.
That father then could be a mentor to someone else at that organisation who was probably got the same situation as the man who was absent.
Yeah.
And can give some guidance as well. Give advice as well.
Be a role model, even though you couldn't be for. Right. I see where you're coming from with regards to the organisations. I guess it's who lives it knows it, right? Anything to help bring that individual to a point of where they're comfortable.
Because it's
a step forward in the right direction. Yes, today's subject was father's absence. It's been quite a deep subject as well, and reflecting upon changes that may have happened along the way and pinpointing where that change could have happened or did happen. When we have these conversations and discussions, it kind of opens your eyes up to certain things that you don't really think about on a deeper level. And it's good to talk about situations and subjects that you think about but you just don't venture into conversation about. And I think it's a lot to do with time spent together, just being able to converse about subjects. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for listening on today's show, and stay tuned. You can connect with us on all the W's, iLiveRadio.com. You can also tune in to me via my talk show, Talks Honest. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Good night and God bless.
What if we spoke honestly? 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 What if we spoke honestly?
Understanding, I know it all to be false. Not even truth.